Good evening and welcome to Greater Somerville for March 18th, 2014. I'm Cayenne Anderson. Tonight's topic, movement, a concept derived from TED, a nonprofit devoted to the sharing of ideas with the population at large. The idea started in 1984 as a conference bringing people together from three worlds, technology, entertainment, and design. And since then, its scope has become even broader. Along with 2 annual conferences and a host of other events, the TED organization also allows for communities to host independently organized events the world over, all sharing this one common goal: ideas worth spreading. As TEDx Boston and TEDx Cambridge have successfully hosted their own events over the past few years, as well as the inaugural TEDx Somerville event taking place last year in March of 2012, CTodd is back yet again for a second round of TEDx Somerville to be held at Brooklyn Boulder's Somerville later this month. I am pleased to announce that the second TEDx Somerville will be held on March 30th, 2014 at BKB Builders, with this year's theme being movement. The guests will be allowed, it's going to be from 12 to 6. Our guest tonight is CTodd Lombardo, the Executive Director for TEDx Somerville, and Devin Bramhall, the event MC and co-host. They are here to shed a little light on the TEDx phenomenon and what we can expect next month. So please join me in welcoming for his return appearance here on Greater Somerville and her debut appearance on the show, CTodd and Devin to the show. Welcome to Greater Somerville. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
How are you?
Good.
Great.
Okay, here we are. Here we are. A little disclosure here. Well, not disclosure, more so. This is a pre-tape show.
Yeah.
So I like to have callers, but we're not having callers tonight. So that's just kind of how it is. But I know there'll be a lot of chitty chat generated online, so that's great. So this is fantastic because I was involved. I don't know if those of you at home know, but I was involved with TEDx Somerville last year for the first one, and that was a fantastic event. And now we're back for the second round.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. It's coming up on March 30th. For those of you who haven't bought tickets, you need to do so. All the information from tonight will be on our blog, so we'll make sure we'll get into that. But what I'm going to do is just get into a little bit about each of our guests to understand why it is they're doing what they're doing, and then we'll get into the actual event here. So CTodd, I know your background.
You do.
But I'll just go into it just because people at home might not. Okay, so you are, you grew up in Lowell, Massachusetts. You bought your condo at Brook Bottom in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So you are a Somervillian through and through. So what exactly...
Why am I doing it again, you mean?
Yeah.
Like,
how are you
why am I
doing it
coming
again?
back for this?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
masochism? I think partly because I got the TED bug when I was younger, and when I brought it to Madrid, right? From the last time. My first TEDx was in Madrid. TEDx was the first one of all of Spain. Come back here, we did that one together in 2012, and it was awesome. And I think just talking to a number of other folks in the community and hearing about, oh, when's the next one, and finally it was, the voices got loud enough that I said, okay, we need to do this again. And where should we do it, and how should we do it? And started to reach out to pull the team together and say, hey, let's do this. Let's make this happen. And then Brooklyn Boulders, they had their opening and went there and said, oh my God, this is so inspiring.
Okay.
Great space. So could we do something there?
So you're basically always, and we'll get into the details of that in a little bit, but as far as you're always kind of, you work right now for Constant Contact.
I do.
You're a communicator, but you're a
Facilitator a little bit.
Facilitator. Talk about that.
I think, yeah, a lot of the thread in my background is a lot of facilitation and just, because I'm not the one, I might be the one co-hosting, she might be co-hosting, but we're putting other people on stage, right? That's sort of our canvas as artists, if you so to speak, right? And we're creating a program through putting different speakers on stage and provoking people with these interesting ideas.
Okay, so you also, on top of all this, because you have so much free time, you are an adjunct faculty at IE Business School in Madrid,
Correct.
where you teach courses of communication and innovation, which tie in very nicely. And then, so this TEDx movement is the 5th TEDx event.
Yeah, I know. 2 of them in Madrid, and actually this is technically the 3rd one in Somerville, but it's the second one we had live. When I got back in 2010 or 2011, we did a very mini tiny one with just, TED has this, they have a couple different types of TEDx events, and this one was just a live stream. So what I did is I rented a small space at the basement of Somerville Theater in Davis Square, and we had like a little live stream. And actually her cousin helped out a lot with that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was very, very small. It was just, TED allowed you to live stream their main conference.
Okay.
So it was just basically a webcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was really the first TEDx Somerville. But
And people always ask, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Your CTodd, your name is CTodd, and you say that C stands for crazy because you're doing this again. Because it takes a lot of energy to do things like that. So no, I commend you.
Thank you.
I have a lot of energy. CTodd probably has more than me. There are not many people.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I know about that. So anyway, okay, so Devin. Getting to Devin, you're a product marketing manager at Shareaholic.
Yep.
Which is, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, incidentally, I just started today, so it's a very exciting day for me.
First day of school.
Yeah. But they're a really great company. They're a content amplification tool. So, those browser buttons that you see at the bottom of blog posts and related posts and other types of things that really help you gain more traffic, help you share your content. So if you're a blogger or a website, it helps people discover you. It helps people who do discover you share your content. So it's a really exciting company. They're a startup out of here in Boston, and I'm really excited to be there.
Okay. And so now I found this interesting, you are also the creator of the Master Slam.
Yeah.
Which is a poetry slam style debate that pits industry experts against each other to argue on a theme in tell me a little bit about that. What it makes
This is really cool.
So part of the success of this event is that no one really knows what it is when I first tell them about it. And what it is literally is it's taking storytelling, which I do also on the side, and it's relating it to an industry topic. So I'm into startups, right? So the first one we did was marketing versus PR, right? So is PR dead? And we get people from PR industry and marketing industry, and they stand up live on stage and give then it was 5 minutes. We've shaved it down to one. And they make an argument. They make a case. So, is PR dead? And PR people obviously say no. Marketing people say maybe. Yeah. And so we've done tech topics. So it was Android versus iOS for startups. And it's basically a fun way for people who are really passionate in their industry to be able to argue on a topic and then all hang out and drink beer and talk about it later.
Okay. So now this is something that, we could get that website, because you just started that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I don't have a website yet. I've done two.
Oops.
No.
We didn't go through this, folks, before we went on camera, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's a very new thing. I just started it last year. I've been partnering with WorkBar in Cambridge to put it on, and they've been really great. And right now, the best place to find it is actually on Bostino. They have articles that list. Yeah.
Or TEDx Somerville, they can contact you and
exactly.
more.
Yeah.
And you're a graduate from UMass Boston, major in English, minor in communications, and a storyteller.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to Mass Mouth, does regular storytelling here in Boston. It's much like The Moth. And I'm actually going to compete right after I leave here. So.
Nice. She's busy. Busy. Okay, so TEDx Somerville coming back March 30th.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about, we talked about TED as a philosophy, because I think what a lot of people confuse it, because there's the TED Talks, which people are on YouTube and they're blowing up.
Yep.
But then there's the TEDx event, and that little X means the independently organized event, which is someone like you, who's very ambitious, is okay, I want to do a event, and you go and you get a permit, and that allows you to kind of take in the marketing aspects of TED, which is a very popular thing, and then allowing that to become this event, and then you guys choreograph kind of what the theme is and all of that, and get the people there and actually hold it.
Yep. So in 2009, TED opened up their brand, and they did it really as an experiment. They just said, well, where do we go from here? And they had grown to a certain point. And they said, well, let's try this TEDx thing. Maybe people, and the reason why they started it is a lot of folks were coming to them and saying, oh yeah, I watched a bunch of your videos with my friends in my living room, or I watched it in my class with my classroom, and they thought, well, people are getting together, watching the videos that TED had created with their conferences over the years, and they're saying, well, what if, and people were saying, what if they could add to that? So they created this TEDx program. They created a little Word document. It was 30 pages long. I said, okay, we actually had an interview at that time. They had to actually have a Skype interview with the director at TED to get the license. So after having that interview and learning more about it, they let anybody who, well, I'm assuming you go through approved for the interview process, you can host that event as long as you follow their guidelines. So they basically loaned out their brand and said, and some of their content, and said, okay, here, do something with it. And it's grown like wildfire. It has been So the stats that I think I said
Yeah.
were way off.
The very, oh, they're, yeah, they
They're
are.
way off.
This
It's
is,
like there's like 10.
this is a cheat sheet
yeah,
from like the last episode we did for TEDx Somerville, and I know, I knew you were going to call me on that. I didn't. Oops.
That's
Sorry.
okay. I just
I don't know if it's a shortcut, but that's
sent an
all
email
right.
to the TEDx organizer list, and they said, oh, there's been like 10,900 something TEDx events since
10,900.
since 2009.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And they're all driven by passionate local people. Nobody
Yeah.
gets paid to do this. Nobody makes money doing this.
Yeah.
We do it because
And that's an important thing to know because,
Yeah.
I mean, the tickets are a certain amount of money, but there
Yep.
really isn't any, you aren't gaining anything from this other than kind of knowledge, inspiration, etc. So you all kind of got together as a team. So how many people are on the core team?
oof, like dozen.
Yeah.
A dozen?
Yeah, I think it's 12 of us.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we take over a table.
Yeah, we took over an entire table.
We only had like 7.
We had like 7 or 8 for us.
I know. It's all right. No, it's okay.
We've gotten bigger.
That's fantastic. So now, okay. So the goal here is you've got the tickets. The tickets went on sale.
Yeah.
So how many people can come to this event? So BK, the Boulder
Right,
place.
it's bigger. It's bigger than the Armory, which is nice. And one of the things think we felt bad about is we had to limit the Armory, right, from a capacity perspective.
You know what? I just remember we have technology here that we can have some pictures. So what I'm going to ask Devin
yeah.
to do is slide. No,
Yeah.
Oh.
do that. See, we're gonna go into. Does that not work? It should work. I hope it works. Oh, there we go. Okay, so.
Right.
So this is the Armory space from
Right.
the first TEDx Somerville.
Yep.
And what it basically is, I mean, I'm just seeing here, you've got this big space and all these people, these chairs, and people come in and tell me a little bit about that. Maybe Devin, you can get into that. So the speakers talk about like the topic, the theme for like how many minutes, how many sessions are there?
Yeah, so there's 3 sessions this year, and they talk anywhere from 9 to 15 minutes. And each one of them has their own take on the theme based on what their expertise or specialty is. So, we have one woman talking about concepts of being artistic and creative. We have another woman who's the founder of Sitter Cycle talking about, the movement in the nanny profession.
Yeah.
So all those people sort of get up and share their innovations and thought leadership on that theme. And what's really cool about it actually is that, you have there's takes on the theme that take you to places that you never even considered, both within that theme and in their industries, right? Like they're forcing you to think about the things that they're experts in, like art, and even like the profession of being a nanny that you didn't even know existed. And so it really opens your mind, and I think that's like one of the core purposes of these TED Talks.
So as far as this, okay, so this is last year's venue,
Mhm.
and then now if you want to advance with the right arrow there, yep. So now
Yeah.
this is a little.
This is right. This is a photo of BKB taken from their website. We're gonna have the stage probably just about behind where the woman in white is, the white tank top is. So that's about where the stage is gonna be, and we're gonna have a lot of bean bags because we can't put chairs in certain places, and we
Oh.
can put chairs in certain places. So we're
Trendy,
gonna,
okay,
we're gonna have a
nice.
lot of bean bags. Thanks, Yoga Bo is donating, or they're basically giving us bean bags for the day to use, which are awesome. They're fantastic. And then we're gonna have a couple flat screens around and a big screen up top. So we're trying to we're converting a rock climbing space into a mini theater for an afternoon, and it's certainly some logistical challenges, but gonna
And
be a lot of fun.
There'll be some rock climbing.
There'll be some ability to rock climb before,
Nice.
after as well. Yep, and there'll be some really interesting performances in the spaces in between too.
Nice. Okay, and then this is just we're going to have all this information on the website here,
Yep.
but this just gives you a little bit of understanding of
Where you
the
can go to find
movement.
more information.
Where you can find more information. All that. So now getting back to the theme, like what you're talking about. So you have these people giving these talks, but one of the really critical points about, at least when we were doing it, is that you have to have someone recording this and producing
Yeah.
this, because then one of the requirements, right, from TED is that you have to take each of these talks, create a little video, and then these videos then go up onto YouTube.
Correct.
And that's where you get really all the a lot of the viewership. Because I
Yeah.
mean, there's only, how many people can come to this event for this on the March 30th?
So we're gonna have we have actually 2 things going on March 30th. We have BKB, where actually the speakers are going to be there, and we're expecting between 300 and 400 in that space.
Okay.
And then we're also going to have a simulcast, which is going to happen over at Clipped in Davis Square. So there's a startup called Clipped, and they approached us and said, hey, could we just have a party and have people come to our space and watch it on TV. So we
So you can stream live now.
So, yeah, so now we will be able to live stream it, and they've basically done the hookup for it, and they're going to host a little party in their office in Davis Square. It's gonna be
Oh,
cool.
wonderful. So if people can't get tickets, right, because you can only sell so many tickets, how many tickets are...
But we're about 350 or so is what we're going
Okay.
to sell. I mean, we've still plenty of tickets available, so please go get one. But yeah, and there'll be the live stream app in as well. The live stream won't cost anything, so that will be free.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the ticket price then? I know that you have a sliding scale for certain kind of... Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we were one of the things last year was we were always lamenting that we shouldn't be charging as if we had enough sponsorship, we wouldn't charge anything.
Yeah.
But it's always a challenge to pull in sponsorship for events like this, and so I mentioned with the videos, it's a thing we have to do. So our biggest line item in our budget is just renting all the video equipment and the video production. It's really, really expensive to do all that. So that's why we have to charge ticket price. It's $49 for the main ticket.
Okay.
But we've asked people to say, hey, we had a scholarship program last year that worked well. And we said, well, if anyone wants, and we reserved the same amount in the budget to do that, but we said if anyone wants to double their ticket price, we'll add another scholarship. So we've got at least 10% of the people will be able to go to BKBS for free.
Okay.
Students, underemployed, unemployed, artists, okay, we've got at least 10%, so we've got at least 40 reserved for that.
Okay.
The company Constant Contact came in last week and said, hey, we'll give you money for 10 more scholarships, or 10 to 20 more scholarships, either full or half.
Okay.
So now we have 50 plus a few people could have done what we call the Mega Awesome ticket, where you could pay $98 and basically add a few more. So I think right now we've got room for about 55 completely free, or some mix of the free and half price.
Okay, so the question that I have is, if somebody wants to inquire, we'll
Yeah.
have the website on there, and then who do they talk to with this team of, you've got 12 people? How do we...
So they just fill out a little form. It just says, hey, who are you and what's your reason? Are you student, artist? What? And
Okay.
you just give us a short little couple sentences of hey, and we've already had a few, and I think thanks to the generosity of some sponsors, as well as some of the individuals
Yeah.
purchasing the $98 tickets,
Okay.
we're going to be able to have a fair amount of people there. I'm really excited.
That's great. And so it's from time, what time, what do we got on the time here? No? Oh, is that it? Oh. Our clock broke. I apologize, but we're usually so smooth over here, but now we're just we're looking at that. Okay, great. That's good to know. Okay, so it's from 10 to 6.
Yep.
And then now, is there an after party?
There is. I'll let you talk about that.
Talk
Yeah,
about that. So
so-
everybody's going to go and have all these inspiring things, and then it's going to be okay, let's go have a beer and celebrate.
Yeah, and so you'll get to have a very, very fresh beer at Aeronaut Brewery. They're connected or right behind Brooklyn Boulders, and they're brand new. And I don't know, are they going to have, will they have been open by the time? I think they are
just opening.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think
Those guys
it's
are great. They're gonna
yeah.
come
So
up.
we'll be able to have the party there and continue on with their delicious beer, and it's right next door, so you'll be really close, and
Nice.
it'll be a nice way to unwind after, and a great place to continue to talk about the things that come up. There will be breaks during the actual talk, but I think afterwards everything is fresh in your mind, and you
Yeah.
just met all these really interesting people, and now you'll have a chance to continue to talk to them afterwards.
So there's 3 sessions, and each session is...
They slowly get shorter. The first session's an hour, and I think roughly an hour and 15, an hour and 20. The second one's an hour and 10, and the third one's an hour. So we sort of slowly make it shorter.
Different.
Make
Well,
the
no, but I
day
think
go
everyone's
fast.
attention span. No, I think it's great, but I think that definitely is a long day. Now, are you having this catered, or how does that work with food?
So we're gonna have Whole Foods has stepped up and is providing snacks. It's an afternoon from 12 to 6, so we'll have some snacks and bites, but no formal catered
Okay.
lunch like we did last year.
Okay, nice. All right, so now let's talk about movement. How did that come up? Because that was one of the things that I remember our event. It was very, just going round and round a table, okay, what are we going to do for a theme? How are we going to do it? So how did you come upon the idea of movement?
Yeah, it was a similar process.
Mhm.
I think the first time we actually reached out to the community and said, hey, what should we have as a theme? And then we looked
Yeah.
at, sort of posted up what everyone replied to us. And this time around, we just sort of similar, just sat around a table of what should we do based on what we've heard from last time. And it was actually John Neely's idea.
John Neely.
I know, he's
I love
awesome.
John Neely.
He's fantastic. He's our video producer. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's like, what about movement? I really like that. I think it could be interpreted a lot of ways. And I was like, we all just sort of the entire table just stopped and were yeah.
Nice.
And we're let's think about that and come back next week. And so the next week he came back, we're like, that's totally it.
Okay.
And that came out before we had the rock gym. We were still thinking about maybe having it at the Armory or somewhere. We weren't sure where we were going to have it at that time. So then I think I went to the opening at
Oh, and it just kind of tied together.
And I was like, hey, wait a minute.
That's great. Okay, so now you're going to have, so there's 3 sessions, and there's going to be local musicians there.
Mhm.
How's acoustics in that space?
That's going to be an interesting thing.
I'm not trying to be the buzzkill. I'm just, we're just working through problems here on the show.
No, we actually, John brought in an audio guy who's basically worked it out.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So now, who are the musicians? Last year, or the last show, they made, what was the name? I apologize.
The house band?
Yes.
Oh, the Michael J. Epstein Memorial.
Oh
Library.
my God.
Yeah.
They made a song for every single topic, or like, it was phenomenal. Now this year, obviously you can't do the, you change it up.
Yep.
So who are some of the local bands that you have for this year?
Freeze Pop. I'm really excited about this one. I've been following them for a while, so I don't know if you know. I'm terrible at classifying bands, but they're sort of a semi-electronic, sort of melodic. Yeah, it's really hard to describe it.
I think electronic is probably what their base is, but they sort of they diverge from that.
Okay.
And they're a lot of fun. And we've got the Prospect Hill Academy drumline.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice work.
Yep.
Prospect Hill Academy, good folks. Okay,
Yep.
that's exciting.
So, very excited about that.
Okay, local artists, local musicians.
We have Aerial Arts performing, so instead of a band, we actually have a performance. We're going to do some aerials going to happen during.
Oh my gosh, like Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Movement.
Where did you find these people?
John found them.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's awesome. Okay, so now who are some of the speakers? Because I know, how many speakers do you have?
13, potentially 14. We're like trying to. We have one that we're like, well, hopefully it'll be a really awesome announcement at the end of this week, because they're a very, very well-known person. I just can't make it public yet.
Wow.
I know.
That's such a teaser.
It is.
That's all right. That's what the show's. If you find out, just break it on the show.
Don't will.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Okay, so how many? Just give me an idea. So like, who's? I know Mimi Graney speaking.
Mimi Graney is speaking.
She's
Word on the
wonderful.
street.
We saw her
Last night?
rehearsal last night. And it was a rehearsal. And I was like, what? Okay. She's pretty polished.
Well, here's a question though, because what I understand is that, okay, so who's doing it? So these people apply, so there's an application process to be able to, do his talk. So that's obviously ended. So unfortunately, you'll just have to buy a ticket to the event and just experience the talk this go around. But so you have all these people apply, then these people are selected, and then you go through a kind of a teaching, kind of coaching. Because I think for people that don't know at home, it's a really kind of the way that people are like they talk. You have been to so many events that it's helpful, and you have as well.
And this one.
So that's what I'm saying.
Fantastic.
So it's great to be able to have people to kind of cook, because a lot of people are like absolutely fearful of public speaking. So it's good to know that if in the next chapter of this, if you do another one, to be able to say, okay, you will get coaching, because it's not like they shove you on a stage like, okay, here you go, and just like talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think it's a lot similar to writing, right? You have these people who are, experts and passionate about whatever it is that they are into, but maybe they don't always know how to communicate it.
Yeah.
And so we're just there to make sure that they feel comfortable on stage, they can really present the best they can possibly be, so that everyone in the audience can hear what they have to say. Because again, having a polished performance makes it easier to take in and that much more pleasurable for the audience. And so it really doesn't take much, it's just a little bit of coaching, lots of practice.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is practice. So when you think about the TED, if you see a TED talk online that you love, it's probably because they rehearsed it about 30 or 40 times, literally, that much, if not more. And I got to go backstage when the year I went to the TED event and saw some of that happening, and I was kind of blown away at just the amount that they do. So we try to run our speakers through some miniaturized version of that, so that they improve and can really tell their story, because we want their stories to spread.
And so then here's the interesting, so among all the speakers, you get these videos are produced, they're ready to go on to YouTube and all that, but then what happens every year? They look the big TED people, they look at all these videos and they're like, or they could potentially pick, which is the reason why the practice is so critical, because then you have this message that's going out to essentially a lot of people,
So
right?
yes, yeah. I think there's been something like I'm gonna butcher the numbers, but it's something like 1 to 2% of all TEDx talks have actually been placed on the TED.com front page.
And when that's the creme de la creme.
Right, and if you get
That's
posted
where you
on,
wanna
if
be.
you get posted on the TED.com front page, if your talk goes there, it's almost guaranteed. I don't think I've seen any that gets less than 500,000 views. I mean, that's like the minimum. They usually get at least 1 million or more.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah, you need to practice all your. No. So okay, Mimi's on it. Who else? Can you tell?
Of course, yeah.
Can you
They're
help us
all
up
on the
far?
website. They're all except for one on the website. And yeah, we've got Bikey Face.
Bikey Face.
She's a Somerville resident who has this webcomic, Bikey Face. It's really hilarious, kind
Okay.
of snarky, really funny.
Mhm.
She's going to talk about her idea of movement.
Bryn Mawr Williams, he's a documentary filmmaker. I'm actually really excited about his, because this is, again, sort of a diversity of talks, right? There's going to be a lot of people speaking, but he's going to have clips from some of his videos in there as well. So that's going to be interesting.
We've got Christina Economos, the professor from Tufts who did the groundbreaking research for the Shape Up Somerville program and what happened since and what movements are sparking from that research.
George Parakis.
George Parakis, our City of Somerville planner.
George. No pressure,
Yeah.
George. No, I think
We're
it's
actually
great.
putting him and Mimi right next to each other.
Really?
Yeah.
That's gonna
A
be
little competition.
We're
Healthy
Well, part of it is we want the
What's
audience
his talk
to
on?
be.
Can you tell? Is
city
this?
planning.
Oh, city planning.
And just how Somerville did it differently.
Zoning. Yeah, he's all about zoning.
Mhm.
Okay, that's exciting stuff. So all those people have the potential to be plucked into the limelight
Yeah.
of the TED.com.
And when we're
homepage.
crafting their stories with them, we've got to remind them to say that there's an audience in the room,
Yeah.
but there's also the audience outside the room. Like what is
Yeah, but
that?
don't you think that kind of freaks people out? I mean, I'm not trying to be like, okay, honestly, I say that because like we're talking here and this is pre-recorded, so it's just you, me, and the camera. But I mean, when you say that, okay, there are potentially other people that have the camera. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys do what you want. I'm sure they're gonna be fabulous. But I'm like, people freeze up because they think about all these little eyes in the camera that are looking, and it's like you really just have to talk to it like it's your friend.
Well, also,
know?
I think there's a moment where in the beginning you can see a little bit of the nerves, but then as they get going,
Yeah.
they get so into it, into what they're talking about, that they do kind of lose that awareness of the out there, right?
Yeah.
Where they're just really passionate and really excited. We have one, Aaron Cantor, who's like a movement specialist.
He's
and,
amazing.
Yeah, and when he gets going, I mean, he's literally moving around the stage as he's talking, and there comes a point where you can see him forget that he's presenting, and he gets so into it, and then you're so engaged. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that the longer they go on, the more that gets lost, and again, the practice definitely helps.
Yeah, couple of minutes in. Yeah, you can always tell when a person. I mean, it's just
They get in the zone. It's really
you get in the zone. Well, 300 to 400 people is a lot of people. How many are at the Armory?
250.
Oh, okay. Still a lot of people. That's great.
That's all
Is there anything else? There's going to be a blogger lounge, or is there not?
Yes, there is.
Oh, good.
Assembly Row came through again. I mean, they believed in us the first time around, and they believed in us again. I'm so grateful for them. There is going to be a blogger lounge. We're going to have that. I don't know if you've been in BKB, that there's this cool little room with like a little, I don't know, it's like a wood-burning stove or something, and television and couches, and that's going to be their blogger lounge. Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay.
So they're going to be there. Yep.
All right. Any other, as we wrap up here, any other highlights? I think we got most. Why do you do this? I mean, I know. I think what's the like? If you were to give me a, as a takeaway, as we wrap up.
Yeah, sometimes I ask myself, say, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because it's lots of hours of work that you don't really get any, least
Yeah.
economic return on. But I think part of it is just to love of the community and knowing that, and seeing the potential that there is a lot of really cool things going on in Somerville. Like Somerville's overshadowed by Cambridge and Boston in a lot of ways.
Oh,
especially
don't let the mayor
internationally.
hear you say that. That's not true. No, we're neck and neck.
Yeah, but I think
Just
that
kidding.
we have some really cool things going on here that TEDx Somerville can be a platform to talk about them throughout the rest of the world. So I think that's part of things that we have to share to the rest of the world.
Making your community better.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think I would echo that, and also just say that being involved in something like this, one, yes, it does help you be more involved in the community. There's things going on here that even I didn't realize that I learned from the speakers. But also the connections that you build with the people. I mean, getting to work with this team on such a big project, the types of things that you learn and experience in doing that, it is a lot of work and it is challenging, but I think that what it gives back to me is so much
Yeah.
better.
It's kind of like running your own startup almost.
Yeah, but it's got a much shorter beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it will be over soon, March 30th.
March 30th.
At BKB Boulders, 12 to 6. We'll have all the information online. So I'd like to thank our guests, CTodd Lombardo and Devin Bramhall, for stopping by Greater Somerville tonight and letting us know about the TEDx Somerville movement event to be held at BKB Builders Sunday, March 30th from 12 to 6?
Doors will open at 12, and
Doors
we'll have
open
our
at-
first talk start promptly at 1 o'clock.
Okay, so it's definitely an event you don't want to miss. So please check out our website for more information on tonight's episode and related links, as well as all of our Greater Somerville episodes. So that does it for us tonight. Thank you to the viewers at home for watching. As always, stay safe and stay informed. Good night, everyone.